Assalamualaikum and a very good day. My name is Ain Syahira Amir and my metric ID is A17CS0271. This video is my answer for assignment 4 for Advanced Analytics for Data Science class. I first transfer the given data from the questions into my Excel table. As you can see here, I have 3 columns, which is A, B, and C, along with their data. And then this is the question. The first question is to predict C based on the datasets A. Here, I assume C is equal to Y, which is our dependent variable, and A is equal to X, which is our independent variable. The formula for predicted simple regression model is Y equal to B0 plus B1 times X. And here we also have the least square equations where we can use to find B1 and also B0. So in order for us to find B1 and B0, we first need to find xy and x squared. To find xy, we can select the cell and then insert the equal symbol, and then we select our x column by selecting the first cell of x, and then we put symbol of times multiply, which is an asterisk symbol, and then we select column Y, the first cell of column Y. And then we enter, and we got the whole value of xy for each row. Now we need to find x squared. To find x squared, we insert the formula for x squared, which is power, and then we put bracket. Since we want to find the x squared, so the value is x, we select the cells of column X, the first one, and then comma, the power that we want, which is 2. And then we close bracket and we enter, get the x squared of each row. Now we need to find the sum of each column. We can simply highlight the whole data, and then we go to this symbol, the sum of symbol, and then we simply click sum function, and it will calculate our total of each column. And then we need to find our average. To find average, we can simply select all the data, and then we go to the same symbol and we choose average. Then it will give us our average for each column. Now that we have all the data that we need, we can find our B1, B0, and also Y. To find B1, we should refer to this equation, and we can start insert the function to find the value of B1. First, we insert equal sign, and then we do the above part first by open two bracket, and then we select, as you can see here is sum of xy. So sum of xy is this one. So we select these cells, and then we need to close the bracket, and then minus with we select the sum of x, and we multiply with y, which is this one, and then we close the bracket, and we divide it with n. N is our number of sample. Here we have 10 number of sample, so we divide it with 10, and then close bracket, and we close another bracket, and then divide it by. Now we do the denominator part. We open two bracket, and then we select this one, the sum of x squared, and then close bracket, minus with, we open two bracket, and we select the sum of x. And there are two ways to do squared. You can use the function power, or you can simply multiply them. Now we close the bracket, and then we divide it with the number of sample, which is 10, and then we close the bracket, click enter. Now we get our B1 value, which is 0.554929. Next, we need to find our B0. To find the B0, we need our average of y and x, and also B1 value. So we insert the average of y, which is 54.5, and then minus with, we open the bracket, then we select B1 value, and then we multiply it with our average of x, which is 40.4, and then we close the bracket and click enter. Now we get our B0, which is 32.08089. Now we need to find our y. And based on the question, what would you predict when independent value of 33? So now we need to predict the regression model if A, which is our independent variable, is 33. So our independent variable here is x. So we can simply insert the value that we have into our predicted simple regression model. So here our B0, which is 32.08089, and then plus with B1, which is 0.554929, and times with x value, which based on this question is 33. So we insert 33, and then we close the bracket and click enter, and we get our y value if the x value is 33, which is 50.393529. Now, let's move on to the next question, which asks us to predict C based on the data sets A and B. So here we have two independent variables, meaning it is a multiple regression model. And here C is our dependent variable. We assume that C is equal to Y, which is our dependent variable, and A is equal to x1, our independent variable 1, and B is equal to x2, which is our second independent variable. And this is the predicted multiple regression model equation. And here there are some equations that we can use to find B1, B2, and also A. I transform the data from the questions into my Excel data. First of all, we need to find the sum of x1 by highlighting this data and go to the sum data and click the sum function. Here we got the sum of x1, and then we need to find the average of our x1. We can highlight the data and we select the average function. Now we need to find x1 minus with our average x1. To find this, we select our x1 minus with our average, which is 40.4. We click enter, and here we got the result of x1 minus average x1. And then after that, we need to find the square of the answer that we get just now. Put power function, which is power, and then open a bracket, and we select x1 minus average x1 comma 2, and then we close the bracket and enter, and here we get the result. And now we need to find the sum of this column by highlighting them and select the sum function, and here we got the sum of x1 minus average x1 squared. And after that, we need to find our x2, the average, and also the sum. To find the total, the sum of x2, use the sum function, and then we get the sum of x2, which is 306, and then we need to find the average of x2 by using the average function here, and we got the average 3.6. Now we need to find our x2 minus average of x2. Select our first cell of x2 column and minus with our average, which is 3.6, and click enter, and we got the result of this. Now we need to find the square of the answer that we just get just now. We use the power function and we select the first cell of the column that we want, and then we put the power value, which is 2 in this case, and we close bracket and we click enter. Now we get the result of x2 minus average of x2 to the power of 2. And now to find the sum of this column, we use the function of sum, and we got 11504.30. And then now we go to the y table. We do the same thing. We need to find the sum of y column by using the sum function, and then we find the average of y by using the average. So we got the sum is 545 and the average is 54.5. Now we need to find the y minus average of y. We use equal sign. We must put equal sign to use the function. We select the first cell of y column and minus with our average of y, which is 54.5, and click enter. Now we got the whole answer for this column. Next, we need to find the square of the answer that we get just now. We insert the equal sign and then use power function just like before, and open a bracket and select the number, which is our number here, our y minus y average, and we select the first cell, and then we comma and put the power that we want, which is 2, and select enter. Now we need to find the sum of this column by simply using the sum function. and we got the result, which is 27878.25. And finally, we need to find another two columns. So first we need to find the sum of x1 times y. We can simply select this column, x1 times y, and we use the sum function as usual. Then we get 23,198. Now we need to find x2 times y. To find x2 times y, we need to select our x2 and then put the asterisk symbol and then select our y column and click enter. Now we get x2 times y. If you want to find x1 times y, you can also use the same method that I showed just now. And then we need to find the sum of x2 times y. We can select this whole column and then use the sum function. And the sum of x2 times y is 15,708. Now we need to find our x1 times x2. To find x1 and x2, we select our x1 column, which is this one, and then put the asterisk sign and select our x2, which is this one, and then we select enter. Now we have x1 times x2 data, and we need to find the sum of it, so we highlight the column and we use the sum function. It gives us 11,234. Now we have the data. Next, we need to find x1y, x2y, and also x1 times x2. We can find this by using this equation. First of all, we'll find the x1 times y. We need our sum of x1 times y. We select this one. Minus with, you can see the function that I put here. We can minus it. Sum of x1, which is this one, sum of x1, we time with sum of y, which is this one, sum of y, and then divided by the number of sample. So we put 10, we close bracket, click enter, and you can see here, this is the value of our x1 times y. And then we need to find our x2 times y. We select sum of x2 times y. We select this one. We can change our function to here to make it easier. We minus with sum of x2, which is this one, sum of x2, 306, time with sum of y, which is 545 here. And then close bracket, and we divide it with the number of sample, which is 10. And enter. You can see here, we get our x2 times y, which is negative 969. Now we need to find our x1 times x2. So to find x1 and x2, we refer to this equation. First, we select our x1 and x2 first cell, and then we select the sum of x1 and x2, the sum of x1 and x2, which is 11,234. Select this one, and we go here, and then put a minus sign, and refer to this equation. We open two brackets, and we select the sum of x1, 404, time with the sum of x2, which is this one, sum of x2. We divide it with the number of sample, which is 10. We must close the bracket first, and then divide it with our number of sample, and close the final bracket, and then click enter. We click enter, we get the result, which is negative 1,128.4. Now we have these data, we can simply find our B1 and B2 and also our A. So we can find B1 by using this formula, B1 and B2. First, we will use this equal symbol to start with the function. And we can also use here, if the equation is too long, you can use the function header up here, so you can see the equation clearly. Now we need our x2, which is our x2 squared. So x2 squared is this one, and then we select this value, the sum of x2 squared, time with the sum of x1 y, which is this one, which is 1,180. We select this one, then close bracket, then we minus with the sum of x1 times x2, which is this one, x1 times x2 times with x2 times y, which is this one, negative 969. So we select these cells. So we divided with, first we open two brackets. The first one is x1 to the power of 2, which is this one. And the sum of x1 to the power of 2 is here, 17,575.36. So we select this one. And then we time with our x2 squared, which is this one. We select this one again. And we close bracket and minus with our x1, x2 squared. We use power and then bracket. We select our x1, x2, which is this one, negative 1128.4, comma, with our power value, which is 2. We close bracket and now we click enter. Now we get our B1 value. Next, we need to find our B2 value. We need to select our x1 to the power of 2, which is this one. We can select this one, the sum of x1 to the power of 2 time with our sum of x2 y times y, which is negative 969. And then we close the bracket. So we select this one and time with x1 times y, which is this one, 1,180 divided by the sum of x1 to the power of 2, the sum of x1 to the power of 2, which is this one. Select this one and time with the sum of x2 to the power 2, which is this one, and close the bracket. And then minus with, we open a new bracket for our power. We use a power function now, and we put the number, which is x1, x2, which is this one, and comma, we put our power value, which is 2, and close, click enter, and we got negative 0.7814. I need to recheck on this formula first. I think I missed the open the bracket. I need to close one bracket, and then I need to delete one bracket because the value doesn't add up here. So when I click enter, now the B1 value is look more reasonable to me, which is 0.062123. We now need to find our A first. Our A is y, the average of y minus with B1 times with average of x minus with B2 time with average of x2. Select our y average, which is here, the average of y, and then go back to the equation, minus with, we open a bracket and select B1 value, which is 0.06213, and then time with average of x1, which is 40.4. We select, and then we close the bracket and we minus with B2, which is negative 0.07814. We need to put a bracket first over here, and then we already select the B2 value, and now times with the average of x2, which is 30.6, and we close the bracket and select enter. Now we have our A value. So now we need to find our y. So our y, our y will be based on this equation, which is we can use over here. Put the equal sign, and we select A, and then plus with, we open a bracket, we select B1, which is 0.062123, and time with our x1. Based on the question here, our x1 is 22. So we times with 22, and then plus with we open another bracket and select B2, which is this value, negative 0.07814, and times with our x2 value, which based on this question is 44. So we insert 44 and we close the bracket and we select enter. So our y value when x1 is equal to 22 and x2 is equal to 44 is 50.30992. This is the final answer for this question.